All right, today on Trail Made, we got some goodies from our friends over at Fabtech. They sent us over their new Molle panel for overhead storage in the Jeep JL. So we're gonna go ahead and get that installed. Stay tuned. All right, so the Fabtech Molle panel is really meant to give us a little bit extra storage. Even though the Jeeps are huge, they're actually not very great as far as being able to store a lot of stuff in here. So by mounting it here between the sport roll cage and the front, you're gonna have all these spots for ball mounting, as well as just traditional Molle panel mounting. You can put all sorts of stuff here. I'll probably get an element fire extinguisher, probably also get like a first aid kit, and a few other goodies that we'll actually be able to keep up here from now on. It's just gonna be really inconvenient to keep all this area clear. I do already have my bulletproof mounting setup here, which has my ham radio, my iPad, and my phones, but anything else that I need, I'm gonna be able to keep all this area clear and put it up top. So as far as this time and our space saver, this is gonna be fantastic. First impressions of this are that it's really well built. It's nice sturdy metal, has a nice clean design, has the Fabtech name on there. I'm really impressed with it and can't wait to get this on. All right, so the Fabtech Molle panel is compatible with anybody that has a sunshade. This is one by Bestop, and it snaps all the way at the top. All you need is just access to these Freedom Panel snap-on spots right here on the overhead sound bar, and it'll be completely compatible. So it's just gonna sit underneath this shade, so even when you have your Freedom Panels off, you're gonna have no interference. Everything's gonna install nice and smooth on here. All right, so the first step is to lower this plastic trim panel. So just move your visors out of the way. And it says to use a trim removal kit tool, but all you have to do is just grab here, pull down, and it'll drop just a little bit. And all you're trying to do is just make sure you have access to this area right here, because there is gonna be very minor drilling, but you just wanna make sure it doesn't actually cut through the plastic. So this is just a safety precaution that it advises you to do. So that's the end of step one. All right, so the next step is to remove the 3 T25 screws that are holding the plastic trim on this sport bar. So there's one right here, one right in the middle, and one right over here. Just a regular T25, and just screw it out. All right, you're gonna keep these 3 screws because we're gonna be reusing them later, so keep them in a safe spot. All right, so now that we have the 3 T25 screws out, all you have to do is just put a little pull and it comes right off. There is an attachment point for the speakers right here. Just push down on this little tab and it should come right out. And you can just put this aside. And this just gives us easy access because we're gonna be removing these bolts here in the next few steps. So the next step is going to be to remove these brackets that support that hold down the Freedom Panels. And these are just going to be 4 T40 Torx bits that are needed to remove this. Make sure to hold on to the hardware as well as these washers that are in front of it, because we're going to reuse them right back in the next step. So we'll just unscrew these and take them off. All right, so an extra set of hands isn't necessary for this install, but it makes it a little bit easier. What we've done is we've gotten this Fabtech Molle panel in place, and these 4 holes that are on it line up with the 4 holes where these brackets go. These brackets are gonna go over the top, and they're gonna line up with the original holes for where they screw back in. So once you got it all lined up, don't drop it, and then just screw those and then we're ready to go. So we'll just get them lightly put in place so it can hold itself up at this point. And these brackets are side specific. On the bottom, it'll either say a R, which is passenger side, or L, which is driver side. And in the front, this is just propped up. It's just laying on top of the front bar. Nothing's mounted yet. There we go. That's loosely installed. All right, so all we're gonna do now is just tighten these up to 16 foot-pounds of torque. I'll be ready to go to the next step. All right, so the next step is going to be to install the mounting spots for the front of this bracket. Once you have these back bolts completely tightened in, it'll be nice and straight to where it needs to be when it's finally installed. So there are 2 holes here right on the Molle panel itself. We're going to use a center punch, make it a little bit bigger with an 1/8, and then work our way up to a 1/4-inch drill bit, so that way we can fit the hardware that comes from Fabtech. So first we're going to hole punch right in the middle. It's just these 2 holes. And then we're going to drill with an 1/8 inch. But when it goes down like that, that's exactly why we lowered this plastic trim, so that way if it does go through, it's not damaging any of that soft plastic. So the 1/8 is done. Now what we're going to do is work our way up to a 1/4 inch. Easy. Now we're going to use the factory or the Fabtech supplied hardware to get these mounted. All right, so next we're going to install the Fabtech provided hardware. It's going to be the bolt, the washer that goes through the top, and we're just going to screw that down a little bit, and we are going to get the Nylox nuts that come as well on the underside of this sheet metal, and then just screw it into it, as long as you don't drop it like I just did. You might need to do a little hand tightening at first before it locks in there. But it is a T25, so once you get it going, that's all you need in order to tighten it up. So bolt, washer, Nylox nut on the back side. All I did is just get a set of pliers to grab the nut on the back, and then you're just going to start tightening the bolt until it's nice and snug in spot. Do that on both sides. And the insulation of the bracket itself is done. No rattles, anything like that, even when you're hitting it. Sits nice and flush, installs well. All right, so all that's left now is just to get the trim back where it all started from. So this one, just push it up a little bit. Yep, pull it. Kind of get in that right spot. There we go, we're all set. All right, let's get this back panel piece back on the sports bar. So plug this back into the slot, make sure it has a nice little click to it, and you put that safety tab right back where it came from. Line up all the trim holes. 2 good smacks. That's all it takes. And then we got to remember to put those T25 screws right back into their original spots. So we'll do that next. All right, so like I said earlier, this does work with all the sunshades as long as it has this little cutout for the freedom panels. So like I said, this best top one has a zipper, so the back part is gonna be above these freedom panel brackets. The other part you're gonna slip right beneath it. So you're gonna slip it there. The sunshade goes over, and then I'll just show you guys roughly what it looks like when you put at least one of the freedom panels back on. Just get that out of the way. Snaps right into place. You can still get right there on that back bracket. That's good. And we're all secure. So it's now properly installed. All right guys, so that's the end of the install. Overall, it was pretty easy. Took us maybe all of about 30-45 minutes to do this, including the filming. So it was a piece of cake. It looks really great in here. The design fits really nice with the JL interiors. All the spots where it does mount up are completely covered by the trim. So it makes it so it's really nice and inconspicuous. But the great thing about this is now I have some extra storage here at the front. I have easy access to all my emergency items. So like this element fire extinguisher, flashlight, blade, instead of having to go all the way to the back where my fire extinguisher used to exist, or like trying to fumble through this middle storage spot for finding a blade. It's nice that I have easy access to stuff right here. I can just pull it right off and it's ready to go. All in all, I think it's a great addition to the JL interior. Looks great, super functional. Fabtech really knocked it out of the park as far as just a nice, simple, clean design that doesn't overcomplicate anything on the inside. But yeah, I'd highly recommend it. I think it's about 150 bucks, which is a steal. And like you guys saw, installation, very easy. So until next time, see you guys out on the trail. Thanks.